to the end of another year, but not the end of us, because here, where we reside and where we record, things tend to pretty much look the same because we're above the clouds and above you all here, up on the lookout. Now, for those of you who don't know, Up on the Lookout is a Dragon Ball podcast with a difference. Here, we like to take a more relaxed and laid-back attitude towards the series that we all know and love, and sometimes question in terms of their narrative choices, but we still follow it anyway because it's near and dear to our hearts, and it's been so gosh darn long since we started watching and listening to it. But either way, we're here to muse over what's been happening over the past year and what might be to come. If you'd like to help support the podcast in its future endeavors, go to masakox.com, that's masakox.com, and either purchase yourself the Up on the Lookout t-shirt, or maybe just leave a cheeky donation in there. So that means we can go towards the server costs and making sure things keep going and the lights are still running. But anyway, joining me as always is my trusty sidekick Haverock.
Hello, I'm Haverock and I want to be the very best like no one ever was.
Yeah, to catch those theories is his real test. Haverock, did you have a good holiday period over the last week or so?
Yeah, one of the calmer for years, I suppose.
Yeah, no, we had a nice little kind of relaxed one. Just was there with my mum. We just had a little bit of a turkey dinner. I helped roast some nice parsnips. I've got roast veg down, I think, but Philly and I, we cook a roast dinner if possible every week. So I've gotten quite good at doing the veg. So the veg is usually my duty when it comes to doing big slap up dinners like that. So I feel like I've got something good there. But yeah, I hope you all out there had a nice little holiday yourself and that you're staying safe. But one thing we're not going to be safe about is in terms of talking about things that have been going on in the year with the Dragon Ball fandom and what may be to come for 2022. Because if you're not aware, 2021 is actually about to be done. I know it's felt like an eternity since it started, but surprise, surprise, it's almost done. And we're almost into the next year of the 2020s, and that's kind of scary.
We were getting old.
Well, not just that, it just suddenly crept up on us. It's like, oh, dang, it's near the end of the year. Okay. Yeah, one thing that hasn't meshed together is all the different stuff that's come out for Dragon Ball over this year, which we think we could discuss to some extent. But I think one thing that we would like to talk about, and I think it's been a really big boon and a sign of confidence within the Dragon Ball IP itself, is the Dragon Ball official website. That I will just say off the bat, the way it's been presented and what it has on there is actually really good. It's really slick. The way it's stylized, the cute little thing to go back up to the top, there's a really nice attention to detail there, which I really have to praise because I thought it would just be like the old DragonBallZ.com days of where you'd have Chris Sabat just going, content, videos, all that stuff. The typical old GeoCities like HTML code and making it look really cheesy. Flash-based website, that was it. Flash-based DragonBallZ.com or DBZ.com.
I mean, let's be honest. If we had Chris Sabat reading it on the new page, that would be an additional value as well.
I think we'd be still okay with that after 20 years or so. I think we'd be all right with that. But there, it's actually been a really good place to get some news and information, and it seems like they've been very aware about what's been going on in the community because they do tend to drop a little, sneak peek of the next chapter, a couple of draft pages in there, it's very aware, it's very shrewd to do, and I think it's very good at combating leaks and spoilers, which thankfully over the last couple of months have sort of died down. I mean, they're still there. There's no way you can get rid of them entirely, but it seems to be far less egregious than it was around about chapter 75, because that was just terrible. With the whole situation with Vegeta and thinking, oh no, he lost. He didn't really lose, but that's for another day, really. We've talked about that many times. Yeah. But needless to say, the website, the Dragon Ball official website, is really good. And the fact that it's not just in Japanese and English, it's in different languages in Europe as well, That's really good too. You know, Spanish, Italian, and French. I mean, it's all the different territories that Dragon Ball has a really strong presence in. Europe is a really big market for Dragon Ball because, surprise, surprise, I think France actually got the dub not long after it came out in Japan, like maybe a few months apart or something. They had it on the original run, whereas it was a bit muddled here in territories in the US and UK. I know that the UK, I think, only got a proper run and syndication of Dragon Ball Z in 2000. So we had to wait a very long time. I mean, granted, GT was still relatively fresh out the oven, but yeah, that's 2000 and 2020. And ugh, jeez. The same gap between Super ending and GT ending has now happened, and that's kind of eye-opening, I must admit. But either way, Dragon Ball website, really big plus, and it does show there is a strong foundation in terms of the overall franchise. It's not going to be going away anytime soon. You're not going to get Shueisha suddenly going, okay, it's time to put you out to pasture. You're kind of done. So thankfully we're not seeing that, because Dragon Ball may not be at the top echelon of Shonen Jump at the moment, but it's still there. It's still there. It's that, you know, nice doting grandpa in the corner that you just can't get rid of and is always there. Just nice, calm and comforting, familiar presence, you might say.
And you know, from time to time they leak something a little bit too early, which can be funny.
You think, oh, Dragon Ball. Oh, you're so silly.
Oh, Dragon Ball. Oh, yo.
Oh, yeah. But again, website was a really great inclusion. I'm glad to see it.
One thing I really like about it is, you know, those interviews with Toyotaro with subtitles that, you know, like the Western fans can get some insight in, you know, in the making of the manga, in the thought process. You know,
yes.
We don't always need to agree with Toyotaro, or like sometimes we roll eyes, but it's nice to have, you know, like, it's nice to have something which was in all the Daizensshus, you know, those interviews with the authors, which we had to wait 2 years, you know, for Kanzenshu to translate before, and now we have it semi-regularly, you know.
I think usually Toyotaro drops an interview every couple of months or so like that. And there's always a weekly Dragon Ball news about various things to do with figures and comic book scripts, and reminding us that Super Dragon Ball Heroes, the promotional animation series, still exists. Yeah, I know we're being a little bit too mean about it, but we've not really been following it ourselves, and we occasionally see the odd little bit here and there, and it does seem, based on our impressions, that it seems to be trying a little harder. Seems to be. Like, sometimes they get some of the big animators when they're not busy. So there are moments and signs that it's sort of settling into its groove, and it probably is just always going to be there now. Like, you'll get an episode every couple of months or something like that, just to wheel out a couple of new cards. Because, mind you, we say that this is a brand new thing. It's not really that new, because whenever they be promoting a brand new set of cards or a brand new set of missions to do, they'd always do a little 1 or 2 minute teaser with no dialogue or really no action. It's just things happening. But they usually did that. That was the whole thing that they did in 2010 with that shot of Super Saiyan 4 Gohan, Super Saiyan 3 Trunks, all the different types of Boo that you could have. I mean, this is just sort of an evolution of what happened back in 2010. So it's just the next version of it, in that there is somewhat of a story there, even though it's sort of like, you know what, don't really try and overthink this. This isn't canon at all. It's not going to impact the main story. It's just gonna be there.
It's just an excuse for Remake, you know. Oh, we have Goku and Goku. Let's make Goku fight with Goku and see which Goku is more Goku.
Go cubed. There you go. You can have some Go cubed in your life. But yeah, it's sort of something we're talking about right now. Super Dragon Ball Heroes. There you go. It's there. It's doing a couple of new missions. We've not really been paying much attention to it, but we'd like to tell you that it is there.
It's mostly harmless.
Yeah, it seems to be mostly improving. It certainly has not been getting worse, I think, because I don't think you could get much worse than what it was, because there were so many weird things. Like at the beginning, oh, better be careful, don't touch Kumba, otherwise you'll then become a berserker. That happened with Goku once, and then it never happened again. They touched Kumba all the time, and then it just didn't happen. And again, I still reiterate,
Stop it.
That wasn't to stop it, I think, but otherwise I didn't know about that. But
touching Kumba is...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But either way, it should have been Raditz. But again, I think Raditz is just being massively overlooked. But I'll tell you, this actually moves into the perfect segue for another thing that seems to be ignoring that Raditz is a thing. Dragon Ball FighterZ. And despite the fact that FighterZ has been around now for nearly 4 years, it's now actually outlasting Smash Bros. Ultimate in terms of putting out new content. We didn't think there'd be a brand new season of DLC, but no.
Apparently there will be one more. Apparently,
but they keep saying that. It's just like with Xenoverse. They always say, oh no, this is the last one for definite, the last version of Xenoverse that you're gonna get, and no more DLC. Oh no, look, here's new DLC. Oh look, here's a new game mode to just completely change the entire game. Gotcha mechanics. Nice. Okay. But no, FighterZ it's keeping it relatively simple in that it's just new fighters, or maybe a couple of new skins and costumes and stuff.
Hopefully, if there is a first season, like we are getting Raditz and Dr. Jiro, because oh my gosh.
With Jiro, the assist could be Android 19.
Yeah.
Because, Jiro had a decent amount of strength. And if you had 19 in there as well, that could be really cool. Or alternatively, you could switch in between them. So like different skins, you could have Android 19 as your main, and then 20 coming in with the assist, or vice versa, or something like that. Maybe you could just have like some sort of weird, wacky combo for their level 3 maneuver. But yeah, that would be a quite interesting model. But again, we really want Raditz to be in there.
Yeah, Raditz and Jiro are some of the most overlooked characters in Dragon Ball fighting games, in my opinion. And King Cold.
Yeah, I mean, King Cold would actually be quite neat to see. But I suppose there's just not much in terms of attacks that is known, because Arxis seems to be very, very devoted in terms of wanting to use things that are manga accurate. And King Cold really didn't attack. He'd just be there as a Frieza clone almost, really. You need to either talk with Toriyama to say, oh, what kind of techniques would Cold have? And Toriyama would just go, just the same as Frieza's, I suppose. And then, Arxis will just go, oh, right, okay, so maybe he could just be a skin then, or something like that. But yeah, Raditz and Jiro seem to be the ones that, out of the ones that haven't been included, should be the ones that are included. But no, we didn't start off Season 4 with Raditz. We started off with Android 21 Lab Coat version.
Yay!
Right. Okay. I mean, granted, Android 21 has its own audience, I suppose, for the fighters community.
And the Lab Coat one is definitely the better one to get.
I will admit that was the most sensible version of Android 21. Yeah, because the other ones are either way overpowered or way too thirsty for a Dragon Ball game. Like, it does not feel like a Dragon Ball IP whenever, Boo 21 is out there.
Also, can I just say, like, if we are getting Lab Coat 21, there's nothing that's, preventing us from getting Mustache Vegeta.
Oh, yes. GT costume Vegeta. Oh, that'd be great. You get him in there, and his opening animation is him shaving his head and then just revealing the moustache. Over the course of the fight, when you get the battle damage and stuff like that, he shaves off his moustache. So he then gets his biker jacket on and then looks like a real, like, Hell's Angel almost. Oh yeah, no, FighterZ is going strong. And another game that seems to actually suddenly come out of nowhere, aside from Kakarot DLC, is Dragon Ball The Breakers. Well, that came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, we played that for a little bit. It's fun. It's a little bit clunky, but still pretty fun. And, fans have provided some of their intel and impressions. We did it as well. You can watch it on the main channel. And we are waiting for more betas. It can be a little fun little side game. As long as they will not, overprice it, I think it will be perfectly fine.
I don't think it will be overpriced. The developers have gone on record to say that it's not going to be a $60 game. It's going to be much less than 60. That's what their words were, much less than 60. So I think if it went out for $30, I think that would be pretty good, because the game has a lot of potential to be fun. There is a lot of stuff that you need to learn. There is a lot of stuff going on, as is typical with many Japanese games. There's a lot of micro tasks to do. You sort of need to figure out what they are as you play the game, because I was floundering around in those first couple of rounds. I had no idea what I was doing. But I'm sure that with better guides and better tutorials and some little times to maybe do just have a CPU round where it's just you and the computer, where you can actually just do some CPU rounds, so just to kind of practice. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and you really get stuck in, especially if you play as the raider. If you're playing the guy that you're supposed to be drinking other people, that is a lot of fun. I could tell that Hav had a lot of fun, especially when he was playing Cell.
Yeah, like playing as a raider, as the hunter is very, very, very fun.
Oh, yes.
Satisfying, and that's why I think that the game needs a little bit more balancing when I'm thinking about it. But other than that, we had fun, and hopefully, I'm really curious to see how they will balance out other hunters, because Cell is made for such type of the game, and you can feel they made this game for Cell. But Frieza and Buu, first form Frieza is much more terrifying than Larva Cell at the beginning. So what can you do to slow down first form Frieza, right?
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see whether they skip third form Frieza or something like that. They just do first form, then second form, then final form, and then for the ultimate move he goes golden or something like that.
I think we might finally see first form Frieza in years, because after all, it's it kind of pays homage to Alien franchise, and we might get it, especially that Cell kind of has 4 forms in that game. So I'm curious if Buu starts as Evil Buu, Super Buu, Kid Buu.
Kid Buu for the finisher.
Yeah. Mas.
What?
Hirudegarn.
Oh, Hirudegarn. Oh.
That would be very cool. You're slow, but you are huge.
You take up most of the map.
Yeah.
You take up most of the map, you crush everything. Seriously, folks, first form Hirudegarn is something that should not be in Dragon Ball Z, but it is really scary. It's freaky. It's just a giant kind of goblin monster with a skull head. A tiny skull head on a massive body. It looks really, really terrifying. That should have been the final form of Hirudegarn, not the cicada thing that we got. That looked a bit more silly. Still kind of intimidating, but not as impressionable as the first form.
Second form Hirudegarn is kinda it's a very GT design.
Yeah. Well, mind you, GT was not that far around the corner, to be fair. So, yeah, I suppose a lot of the Dragon team at that time were probably just figuring out what to do for GT at that point in the movie, because I imagine probably they were sort of figuring out what they were going to do. And again, movie 13 is probably one of the easiest things to slide into the canon. I think that and movie 9. Movie 9 and 13 are probably the easiest ones to do. But anyway, one thing we should probably mention at least a little bit, because it technically did happen, is the fact we are getting a new movie next year. And we've had a couple of trailers out, and there'll probably be one more trailer before the movie comes out, which I think is coming out in April or something like that. But yeah, due to recent circumstances and events, we're not psyched up for it. We're not fired up to really discuss it, to be honest, because we sort of it's been tainted, and it's a real shame, to be honest, because a lot of people do want to know what we think about it, and we were really excited for it at one point, but it's just sort of ugh.
It feels wrong to talk about it right now.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. But either way, it's coming out.
We'll see it. We will see it, yeah.
Go see it. We'll give it our thoughts. But I think no matter what the outcome's going to be, I don't think we could recommend it, no matter how good it is. That's coming out. And we're not particularly excited for it at the moment, just so you know. But one thing we are excited about is the manga. The manga has been pretty much about granola. And we've done plenty of discussions about the granola thing, so we won't touch upon this for too long because there are plenty of review episodes of the podcast that we've talked about granola. And we've even done the Act 1 review, which actually turns out it's probably going to be we're almost done, apparently. Because according to sources, it's going to be done by the time we get to April. So we've only got like maybe 3 or 4 chapters left to go. And that's like, oh, okay. I didn't expect it to be ending this soon. I thought maybe it would have been by the end of the summer, but no. The story has been quite grounded. Goku's actually acting like he has a brain. He's acting much more like Buu Saga Goku, where he actually seems to know how to lead and whatnot. And Vegeta has just been carrying on the development that he had in the Moro Saga. It's been great. There's a lot of character development in there. The action has been relatively minimal. And now the main fight seems to be between non-Saiyan characters. And according to some other experts and Dragon Ball fans, I think this is the first mainline fight that does not have any of the Dragon Team characters fighting.
Since OG Dragon Ball.
Since the original Dragon Ball. So, whereas as far as some people who never watch Dragon Ball and they just watch Z, then this is the first time ever. So, yeah, it's quite eye-opening and it's quite refreshing. So it was never going to be groundbreaking, this saga. I mean, in terms of like when you look at other series and manga and whatnot, but for Dragon Ball, this was a very brave step, and I think they pulled it off. They pulled it off with something good when you look at it as a whole, because we could never condemn or glorify a saga whilst it's in the middle of it. We can say a chapter was good, one chapter was not so good, but in terms of overall impression or whether we would stop reading it, we could never do that because, well, first off, we are sort of paid to review what the YouTube algorithm and whatnot, and we do like the story. And since we've been doing loads and loads of stories, this is just really up our alley, haven't I? We're probably some of the in fact, you can actually hear me in particular talking about the Granolah Saga and many other super sagas in the December discussion, where I finally actually get onto one of those after 8 years. Yeah, no joke. I edited one of those one time. I think it was the movie one, and no, didn't get on there. Oh well. It's sort of the ironic thing with Abridgimon. Yeah, me and the UK Abridges, we did that first one. Then TFS did the second one. Then TFS did the third one, but then I edit it as the original editor of the first one. That was a bit of a paradox in that in itself. But either way, yeah, the saga, the manga, great. Really good. It seems to be progressing really, really smoothly. And I'm glad that it exists and that it seems to be carving out its own path. And I feel like whenever the anime comes back, I think it will benefit in of itself too, because like with Dragon Ball and like with Z, it has a proper manga structure to follow. And I think the animation staff that will be doing the animation once it gets done, they'll just follow the manga. It'll be a lot simpler. And if there are things that Toyotaro and Toriyama want to add or modify, they can do it as they go along. But at least there is a core story to follow.
Also, if you have to guess what comes next, for now, I think we are still not done with the OG soldiers. That I think that 7-3 story may continue into the next saga, by the way.
I hope so, because it would seem very, very sad if OG 7-3 was mainly used as an exposition dumping machine off screen for the heaters. Because at the moment, that seemed to be all that he was good for, in that he's just there to give the information to the new bad guys, and then that's it. And his complete power set and story and background is completely thrown to the wayside because, yeah, he was taken back by the people that had originally stolen him, and then he got stolen again. Well, why is he so important then? I'd like to know some more, please. Maybe OG 7-3 can become a regular character or something like that, or just a point of interest, maybe. But as you say, maybe this is something where you get the rule of 3. You get 7-3 introduced in the Moro Saga. You get him showing that his relative significance in the Granolah Saga, albeit briefly, and then you go back to him by the time that he's fully regenerated. So he's fully regenerated. I don't think he was actually. He'll either try and escape or just like give the Heaters some trouble, or maybe if the Heaters are taken down in the midst of the chaos and carnage, he'll just slink off and go and do his own thing. Really,
Alec is holding him somewhere in the fridge behind the pickles. So I feel that if Alec is taken down in this chapter, like someone else can remind themselves of OG73, especially that his creator hasn't been killed, which is a really important thing.
Of course, because this is a pretty significant development in terms of, you created a massively strong robot who can absorb powers, up to 3 of them, and is pretty much a universe-destroying worthy robot. That is quite big. You'd want to know some more about that. I think now it's just a case of what would we like to see going forward into the next year. Give me 3 things that you'd like to see going into next year.
Well, anything about the new animated series, because it would make our work much easier.
Oh, of course, yeah. So your first one is the brand new series, yeah?
At least an announcement, The second one, I would say any news about another new game, Fusions 2, Fusion Remake on Switch, or Xenoverse 3. Finally, although it seems unlikely because they keep prolonging the life cycle of Xenoverse 2, which I guess is fine for the huge fan base, but it would be nice to get something new, or entirely new big production, something new in the game the department, and another saga to shake things up a little bit, maybe get closer, to the movie, or even get beyond it,
I do hope for some of that too. So again, I hope for a brand new series to be announced at the very least. I would like some clarification, especially in this new movie. Apparently they're saying that Pan's only 3, and they're saying she's only 3 years old in this, and that's weird. It's kind of strange.
I mean, to be quite honest, like, how old was Gohan at the beginning of Z?
4.5 or something like that. But yeah, that's not a prediction. That's just a little quibble I have. I'd like to see also a Fusions remake for the Switch, because an HD remake, because that game is really underrated. And it just goes to show that hopefully the Breakers could be something like this too. That it's a game which is a little bit oddball for Dragon Ball as an IP. It's not just a standard fighting game. It's not an action RPG. It's like a strategy game. It's a strategy RPG where you can have various different combinations of characters and stuff like that. And there's a couple of factors I've used in the latest Raditz What If part that were in the Fusions game. Like, Nappa has a couple of variations of the volcano explosion, which are even stronger than the base one. So the Break Pillar version is like the strongest one when you have him fused together with other characters. So I'm like, I'll just borrow a couple of those, I'll just say. But either way, that game really needs to get a Switch version. I'm surprised it's taken this long, because I'm pretty sure it could be very easy to port over. In fact, if I ever get a chance to talk to the bods over at Bandai, I might just ask, why don't you just make a Dragon Ball Fusions thing for the Switch?
Also, like, one of the things that needs to happen is like the Tournament of Power battler. Like, if we are like any sort of usage of all of the characters, like to finally make the game about Tournament of Power, because I'm pretty sure it would be much more fun than any version of Tournament of Power we got to actually choose a team and try to get them to victory.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily make a Dragon Ball Battle Royale game out of that. You have 80 players, or heck, if you really wanted to spice things up, throw in maybe some of the other fighters, make up some new fighters from the other universes that were exempt, so you can have 120. Or, if you want to keep it to 100, you could have 10 playable universes at any one time, and it's randomized. So you could then play as a specific character, and granted, there's going to be a lot of research and development that's going to have to be made into all the different characters' fighting styles and techniques, but heck, even if you just made it so that means you just had mostly similar traits and stuff like that with various cloning, you can still have something which is really fun. And you need to then also come up with something that could level and like balance out various characters. So that means Universe 7 doesn't win every single time. Like maybe you'd have it so the Grand Priest or Zeno has some kind of like balancing technique that levels out the battle power so things aren't too crazy. So maybe not making everybody identical, maybe just reducing the gap between various characters or something like that. That could be really cool. But again, that's just a pipe dream, I suppose.
And obviously, sorry, we are still waiting for that long-awaited sequel of Dragon Ball Evolution, obviously.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, we need to get Justin Chatwin back on the phone because, there's more that needs to be done with the really cool costume designs in terms of that movie. The gi, Goku's gi is actually really good in that. It's a little bit busy, but in terms of the detail and the design of it, I like it. It's one of the few things I do like about that, and I'm still really ashamed that I paid full price and I didn't walk out of that movie at the time. But I suppose back in 2009, there was so little content going, I was just grateful for anything. 2009, 2008, those were not great times to be a Dragon Ball fan. Because there was barely anything out, and DBZA was just starting to, get going and stuff like that. It was nowhere near at the same big impact that it was as it is now, but I was desperate, okay? But yeah, so I suppose really that's all there is to be said, really, in terms of what we would like to see, what we've seen. I'd say 2021's been a solid year, given that we don't have a mainline series. We've got a new movie announced, which is kind of neat. We've had some good games out there. The manga's been really going from strength to strength. It's been fairly positive for the IP. And yeah, it's also been a real shame. We've had a couple of passings within the year. We had Chris Ayres sadly passing after a long battle with illness. We had Joji Yanami, who is the narrator, pretty much the voice of Dragon Ball, passing away. But mind you, he'd been really poorly for the last several years. You could tell in the Super anime, because when he was voicing King Kai, he was really not doing well. We hope that their replacements do really well, and the show must go on. But they do hold a place in our hearts, both of them.
Yeah.
All that remains to be said is thank you, Had, for joining me and giving your retrospective opinions about 2021.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And we wish everyone a happy new year. Happy 2022.
Absolutely. And hope things calm down. And if the movie does come out in 2022, I will probably see some of you at the screening and we could do a little meetup. And there is a concert happening in August, which I will be attending, and I'll be doing some coverage about that because the people who have been managing the concerts have been real super duper troopers, and they're really hard working there as well. And I want to just show them that Dragon Ball has a really strong UK community. So look forward to seeing some more information about that. Anyway, hope you're all doing really well. Stay safe and subscribe and follow the podcast on whatever podcasting platform of choice you have, or on YouTube. We'll have plenty of stuff to come in the future. So take care and have a happy new year. Ta-da!
Bye.